Hey YouTube, we're going to do a quick video today on how to install some rear shocks on a C4 Corvette from QA1. So let's get to it. The shocks I got are the Stalker series, I think TS507. And I did that because the recommended one is a slightly longer extended and compressed length, so this is about 1 inch less. However, as you can see, they basically come in a configuration ready to go into the front with a T-bar set up. So an issue I think I saw online is that when you remove this T-bar, the stud that the eyelet fits on is smaller diameter than this T-bar. So what you need in order to mount it on there without any play is this diameter, kind of like not a bushing, but you know, the metal sleeve that goes over the stud. So first you get yourself a set of snap ring pliers and remove the snap rings holding on the T-bar. Next, I get with the snap rings removed, I get the vise set up, not so that it's clamping the T-bar, but it's just on the edges of the bushing so that I can get the T-bar out. And it's in there pretty good, but once you get it started, it comes right out. So what the issue is this is too big of a diameter in comparison to that. So the goal is to get this sleeve inside this bushing, and I'll show you exactly how I did that in just a moment. That's the whole reason for the video. So if you're looking closely, you'll see already what I'm going to be getting at. Obviously when you pull your rear shock, you're going to have to transfer over this plate, and the new shock came with some new bushings and the hardware to do so. However, it doesn't come with a dust boot. As you can see, the gas adjust has a dust boot, the Bilstein has a dust boot. So what I did, I sort of got lucky and came up on these KYBs for free used, but I'm going to use the dust boot off my Bilstein, set that aside, and I couldn't come to cannibalize one of these hardcore, just, I don't know, call me a pack rat, whatever. But as you can see, the KYBs had a similar bushing and sleeve inserted inside. What I did was get this cutoff wheel, cinch the whole thing down in the vise, cut it off on one side, flip it over, cut it off on the other side. The end pops right off. And then what you'll have is the bushing sort of stuck to or like impregnated around the sleeve. And I already did it, but let's get that in focus. Stand by. Alright, so what I did to get the bushing off of the sleeve so that I can, you know, put it inside the new shock was I got a long screwdriver, propane torch, and I just went to town. I'll cut in some video right now. So anyway, the end result, once this is cooled down, is it goes nice and tight into the bushing. But I get my mallet. And there she is. So next I'm going to transfer over the dust boot, mounting plate, hardware, new bushings, etc. So now that I've taken off the hardware off the old shock, the hardware sizes may differ. In my case, this was a 14mm nut. This retainer will hold our dust boot on. Next, there's, I've got to open it up. Hardware kit that came with the QA1 shock. This would be if you install the T-bar. And this is the new bushing kit. So as I understand it, the slimmer one lines up with the hole in the mounting plate. So next up we have the lower bushing, the fat ring down, the mounting plate down like that. Next, this slimmer ring goes down so the fat ring is up. The next metal piece, and then you get a new slim nut and a thicker nut. For me, I'm gonna have to compress this down just to get the nut started because the bushings kind of don't leave any threads exposed. Alright, so then once that's started, I used an adjustable wrench and a 9/16 to snap rings flying. See, the whole shock is spinning, so let's get this set up in the vise. So now that we're in the vise, like I said, this isn't very hard to do, but it is hard to show on the YouTubes, so actually looks like it's going okay. So for torque settings, I'm not sure if there's a torque value you're supposed to go to, but you can watch as the bushing will deform. It'll squish and get fat. I think that you don't want to torque it any more than it starts to get like just around the diameter of the plate or retainer or whatever you want to call that. So I'm happy with that. Get another close-up for y'all. So that's about good, I suppose. With that on there, I just kind of put this second skinnier nut on there to serve as kind of like a locking it in place. And not really sure where my 14mm. Oh, I'm so dumb. It's right there. 14mm right there. Just tighten it into the other one. Call it good. It's ready to go into the car. So I got the thing loosely mounted inside. As you can see with this sleeve, even still, it's still a little bit wobbly. However, when you tighten down this nut, it kind of goes away. So I kept this setting on 0 in order to make it easy to like compress and uncompress once, so I can line up the top holes. It's probably a good idea not to tighten it until I get the tops up installed. But I just wanted to show the fitment here. So with that sleeve, it would be entirely too narrow. There's not enough thread on this stud to compress based on just these bushings alone. You don't really want to tighten down on these anyway. I think these are polyurethane. It's better for you tightening metal onto the metal sleeve. And then the bushing can just serve as a bushing and it's not getting compressed. So anyway, I'm going to button up the top and then I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so there it is installed. There's a lot of other videos on YouTube on how to replace the shocks, so I'll just leave it to those guys instead of recreating the wheel. I actually just removed and reinstalled and switched around the adjuster to be forward facing because I now need to do this on the other side too, because I think that the control arm, if I'm getting my terminology correct, this bar right there kind of block access to the adjuster. So you know, you want it to be adjustable on the fly. So I think the easiest way is going to be reaching around with the wheel on from the front to adjust it. And so I'm just gonna, I don't know, 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll try that out. Yeah, that about concludes it.